I walked through the front door just past 11, dead tired from a double shift, and found my wife dressed like she was heading to a nightclub. The distribution center had run me ragged. My back ached from hauling boxes for 14 hours straight, and my feet felt like they were on fire. All I wanted was to peel off these work boots, take a hot shower, and collapse into bed. But the moment I stepped inside our rental house, I knew sleep wasn't happening tonight. She stood in front of the hallway mirror, adjusting a tight red dress I'd never seen before. Full makeup, hair styled like she'd just left a salon. Heels that made her 3 inches taller. At 11 o'clock on a Wednesday night, I set my keys on the kitchen counter, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. Going somewhere? She didn't even turn around, just kept adjusting her necklace in the mirror. Out. Out where? It's almost midnight. That's when she spun on those heels and looked at me like I'd just asked the dumbest question in the world. Now you want to talk. Now you suddenly care where I go. I stayed calm. Years of dealing with her mood swings had taught me that much. I'm asking a simple question. Where are you going this late? I don't owe you explanations. She grabbed her purse from the couch, slinging it over her shoulder with this practiced motion that made me realize this wasn't her first time sneaking out dressed like this. Maybe if you paid attention to me during the day, I wouldn't need to go out at night. That's not an answer. She walked toward the door, heels clicking against the hardwood. Then she stopped and turned back with this look on her face. Half anger, half something else. Something mean. Something that wanted to hurt me. You want the truth? Fine. Maybe today I'll find 2 young guys half your age to make me a woman again. Because clearly, you've forgotten how. The room went quiet. Not the comfortable quiet of a home. The quiet before a storm. I stood there, hands in my pockets, and spoke in the calmest voice I could manage. Pull up your dress now, or I'll do it for you. Her eyes went wide. Excuse me? You heard me. Take off the dress, put on normal clothes, and sit down. We're going to have a conversation you've been avoiding for weeks. She actually laughed. Actually laughed. Or what? You'll stop me. You going to put your hands on me? Go ahead. I'll call the cops so fast your head will spin. I pulled out my phone and held it up. Go ahead, call them. I'd love to explain why you're dressed like that at midnight on a Wednesday. I'd love to show them what I've been looking at for the past 3 weeks. The confidence drained from her face like water down a sink. What are you talking about? Sit down. No, I'm leaving. She reached for the doorknob. I didn't move to stop her. I just said, walk out that door, and you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Is that a threat? It's a promise. Because I know exactly where you're going. I know who you're meeting. I know what you've been doing every Tuesday and Thursday for the past month. And I have proof. Her hand froze on the doorknob. She turned slowly, like someone in a horror movie who just heard a noise behind them. You're bluffing. I pulled up the tracking app on my phone. The one I'd installed on her device 3 weeks ago when I found messages on our phone bill to numbers I didn't recognize. The one that showed her location history. Every bar, every parking lot, every late-night stop at the apartment complex on Riverside Drive. Am I? She stared at the screen, and I watched her face go from red to white in about 5 seconds. How long have you known? Her voice was barely a whisper now. Long enough to talk to a lawyer. Long enough to document everything. Long enough to make copies of every text, every photo, every credit card receipt. You spent $200 at some boutique last week on that dress you're wearing. Our joint credit card. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. I can explain. I don't want explanations. I want you to understand that this marriage is over. You don't get to insult me, threaten me, and walk out to cheat on me. Not anymore. You can't just decide that. I walked past her and opened the door myself. Actually, I can. But tonight, you're not going anywhere except to the guest room. Tomorrow morning, we're going to discuss how this divorce is going to work. And if you try to leave this house before we talk, I'll file a police report for theft of marital assets. Those earrings you're wearing, my grandmother's. That purse, wedding gift from my parents. Want to test me? For the first time in years, my wife had nothing to say. She kicked off her heels and walked toward the back of the house without another word. I closed the door, locked it, put the chain on. The conversation was just beginning. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was upset. I'd done all my grieving 3 weeks ago when I first found out. Tonight was just the beginning of the end. Let me back up. 3 weeks ago, I came home early from work. My supervisor sent me home after I finished unloading a truck ahead of schedule. I walked in around 2 in the afternoon, expecting to find my wife doing her usual routine. Maybe watching TV, maybe scrolling through her phone. Instead, I found her laptop open on the kitchen table. She was in the shower, and there on the screen was a group chat called Girls' Night Out. I should have walked away, but something about the name felt wrong. We'd been married 8 years, and she'd never mentioned this group before. It just appeared 2 months ago, right around the time she started acting distant. Cold, like I was an inconvenience in her life instead of her husband. I looked at the screen. The messages were worse than I imagined. They weren't planning girls' nights. They were planning hookups. 5 women, all married, coordinating trips to bars in the next town over, sharing photos of guys they'd met, bragging about attention from men in their 20s, rating them, laughing about their husbands. My wife's messages were right there in the middle of it all, talking about how boring her husband was, how she deserved better, how she wanted to feel alive again. I took photos of everything with my phone, every message, every plan, every disgusting detail. When she got out of the shower, I acted like nothing happened, made small talk, asked about her day. She lied right to my face, said she'd been home all afternoon doing laundry. That's when I knew I couldn't confront her yet. She'd just deny it, gaslight me, make me feel crazy. I'd seen her do it before with smaller things, money she spent, friends she met, places she went. She was good at it, too good. So I got smart. I called my buddy who works in IT. He helped me install monitoring software on her phone when she left it charging one night. Nothing illegal, just location tracking and cloud backup of her messages. The kind of thing parents use on their teenagers' phones. For 2 weeks, I watched. Tuesday nights, she'd say she was going to book club. The GPS showed her at a sports bar 30 minutes away. Thursday nights, she claimed her mom needed help with something. The GPS showed the same bar, sometimes a different one. I documented everything, screenshots, timestamps, credit card statements showing charges at these places. Our joint account was paying for her to cheat on me. Then I did something she'd never expect from boring me. I took a day off work and went to see a divorce attorney. Not some fancy downtown lawyer, just a guy named Mr. Brennan who had good reviews and reasonable rates. He looked at everything I brought, nodded a lot, then told me the truth. In this state, adultery doesn't affect property division much, but it helps with the narrative, shows pattern of behavior. And since you're in a rental, not a mortgage, the separation is cleaner. The lease is in my name, I said. I signed it before we got married. She just moved in. Good. That's very good for you. And these credit card charges, they're documented proof of marital asset misuse. That helps too. He drew up the papers right there. Didn't file them yet. Said I should wait for the right moment. When she couldn't deny anything, when I had her cornered. You need a catalyst, he said. Something that forces the confrontation on your terms. I knew exactly what that catalyst would be. I went home and waited. Watched her get ready for her Thursday night errands. Watched her check herself in the mirror. Watched her text her little group chat that she'd be there soon. And I let her go. I needed one more week of documentation. One more pattern established. I needed to be absolutely certain when I dropped the hammer. Last Thursday, I followed her. Stayed 3 cars back. Watched her walk into that bar in her tight jeans and low-cut top. Watched her meet up with her friends. Watched them surround a table full of guys who couldn't have been older than 25. I didn't go inside. I just took photos from the parking lot. Time-stamped, location tagged. Then I went home and filed the divorce papers. Tonight was supposed to be just another Thursday. Another lie, another betrayal. But I decided I was done watching, done documenting, done being boring. When she came out in that red dress at 11, trying to sneak out for what she thought I'd never notice, I knew it was time. She thought she was in control, thought she could do whatever she wanted. But I'd been 3 steps ahead for weeks. And now she was about to learn what happens when you underestimate someone. The next morning, I woke up at 6 like always. Showered, made coffee, got ready for work. My wife stayed locked in the guest room. I could hear her on the phone, probably calling one of her friends from that group chat. I called in sick to work. First time in 2 years. My supervisor didn't question it. At 8 o'clock, I knocked on the guest room door. Living room, now. We're having that conversation. She came out 20 minutes later. No makeup, hair messy, eyes red. She looked like she'd been crying all night. Good. She sat on the far end of the couch, arms crossed. I don't know what you think you know, but... Stop. I held up my hand. I'm going to show you something, and then you're going to listen. I'd spent an hour last night setting this up. Connected my laptop to the TV. Organized everything into a folder. Screenshots, photos, bank statements, location data, all of it. The first image appeared on the screen. Her group chat. The message where she called me boring. Her face went pale. I clicked to the next one. Her location history. Every Tuesday and Thursday for the past month. Showing her at bars instead of where she claimed to be. Wait. Click. Credit card statements. Highlighted charges. $150 at a clothing store. $85 at a bar. $200 at another boutique. All in the past 3 weeks. I can explain those. Click. Photos of her at the bar. Time-stamped. Dated. Clear as day. She stood up. You followed me. You're insane. Sit down. No, this is crazy. You're stalking me. I clicked to the next image. The divorce papers. Already filed. Already processed. Already official. She froze. Stared at the screen like she couldn't quite process what she was seeing. You can't be serious. You have 48 hours to move out. The lease is in my name. You're not legally entitled to stay here. I've already consulted with Mr. Brennan. He says I can change the locks after that time frame if you refuse to leave voluntarily. This is my home too. No, it's not. Check the lease. You never signed it. You just moved in. Legally, you're a guest. And I'm asking you to leave. She started crying. Genuine tears this time, not manipulation. Please, we can work this out. I made a mistake. I never actually did anything with anyone. It was just flirting, just attention. I felt invisible. You told your friends you wanted to sleep with men half my age. You spent hundreds of our dollars trying to impress them. You lied to me for months. And last night, you were walking out that door to do exactly what you've been planning. But I didn't. I didn't actually do it. I pulled up another screenshot. A voice memo from her phone, automatically backed up to the cloud. Her voice, clear as day, telling her friend about a guy named Tyler she'd been texting. Graphic details about what she wanted to do with him. The color drained from her face completely. That's private. It was on a shared cloud account, the one we both paid for. Nothing private about it. She collapsed back onto the couch like someone had cut her strings. What do you want from me? Nothing. I want you gone. I want this over. And I want you to understand that you don't get to rewrite this story. You don't get to play victim. My family already knows. I called your mom yesterday. Sent her some of the screenshots. She's disappointed. Your dad wants to talk to you. Her head snapped up. You did what? I also told my parents, my brother, my sister. They all know why this marriage is ending. So you can't spin this. You can't make me the bad guy. She started shaking. You're destroying my life. No, you did that yourself. I'm just making sure everyone knows the truth. She tried a different approach. Softer voice, vulnerable eyes. What if I get help? Therapy? What if I prove I can change? I don't care. I'm done. You had 8 years to be honest with me, 8 years to communicate. Instead, you went behind my back and made me look like a fool. I never meant, but you did. And now, you deal with the consequences. She sat there in silence for a long minute. Then her face changed. The sadness disappeared, replaced by something harder. Anger. Fine, fine. You want a divorce? You'll get one. But I'm taking half of everything. The furniture, the savings, everything. I smiled. Actually smiled. We don't have savings. You spent it all on your little adventures. And the furniture? Most of it was mine before we got married. Check the receipts. You're a bastard. Maybe. But I'm a bastard who's about to be single and free. You're about to be single and explaining to everyone why your marriage fell apart. She grabbed her phone and stormed back to the guest room. I turned off the TV and finished my coffee. 48 hours couldn't come fast enough. Saturday afternoon, I got a call from my wife's mother. Her voice was tight, controlled. We need to talk, all of us. Today at 3, our house. I knew what this was. The family intervention. The circle the wagons moment where they tried to convince me I was overreacting. I'll be there, I said. When I pulled up to their house in my 10-year-old truck, there were 4 cars in the driveway. My wife's parents, her older brother, her younger sister. This was going to be a whole production. I walked in carrying a folder. Nobody greeted me warmly. My wife sat on the couch between her mother and sister, eyes puffy, playing the victim perfectly. Her father stood by the fireplace, arms crossed. So, you want to explain why you're throwing away 8 years of marriage over some text messages? I stayed standing near the door. I'm not here to be lectured. I came because your wife asked me to. But let's be clear about something. This isn't about text messages. Then what's it about? Her brother leaned forward. Because from what we're hearing, you're being pretty harsh over what sounds like a misunderstanding. I opened the folder, pulled out printed copies of the credit card statements, laid them on the coffee table. That's $4,000 in 3 months. Bars, restaurants, clothing stores, hotels. Her mother picked up one of the pages, squinted at it. Hotels. Day rates. She and her friends would rent rooms to change clothes before going out, so their husbands wouldn't see what they were wearing. The room went quiet. I pulled out more papers. Here's the group chat logs. 5 married women coordinating meetups with younger men. Here's the location data showing exactly where she was on nights she claimed to be helping you. I looked directly at her mother. You weren't sick in October. She wasn't taking care of you. Her mother's face hardened. She turned to look at my wife. Is this true? Mom, it's not what it looks like. Is it true? Her father's voice cut through the room like a blade. My wife started crying again. I wasn't happy. I felt trapped. I just wanted to feel attractive again. Her sister put a hand on her shoulder. We all feel like that sometimes. But you don't. She stopped, looked at the papers. $4,000? Our joint account, I said. Money I earned working doubles at the distribution center while she was out trying to impress 25-year-old guys who couldn't care less about her. Her brother stood up. Okay, that's enough. You made your point. I'm not finished. I'm not finished. I pulled out another sheet. One of the women in that group chat, Vanessa something, married to someone with the last name Whitfield. Her father's expression shifted. Whitfield, that's your cousin's wife. I nodded. Was. I called him Thursday night, sent him the same evidence. He filed for divorce Friday morning. The room exploded. Her mother started yelling at my wife about dragging the family name through the mud. Her sister backed away like she'd been burned. Her brother sat down hard, head in his hands. Her father looked at me with something close to respect. You told him. I wanted someone to tell me. And honestly, your daughter wasn't the ringleader. But she was right there in the middle of it, encouraging it, participating. My wife stood up. You ruined Vanessa's life. No, Vanessa ruined her own life, just like you ruined yours. I just made sure the truth came out. Her mother set the papers down carefully. How many others in the group? 5 total. I don't know the other 3 personally, but I'm sure their husbands will find out eventually. Her sister looked horrified. You're going to tell them too? I don't need to. This kind of thing has a way of spreading. Small town, word gets around. My wife's father walked over to her. Go upstairs. Dad, now. She left sobbing. Once she was gone, her father turned back to me. I won't apologize for her, but I'll say this. You handled this better than I would have. Her mother nodded slowly. I saw those screenshots you sent. I didn't want to believe it, but seeing all this... She gestured to the papers. There's no defending it. I'm not asking you to pick sides, I said. She's your daughter. You love her. But I'm done. The papers are filed. She has until tomorrow night to get her stuff out of the house. Her brother spoke up. Where's she going to go? That's not my problem anymore. I picked up my folder and walked toward the door. Before I left, I turned back. For what it's worth, I didn't want this. I wanted a marriage. I wanted a partner. What I got was someone who thought I was too boring to respect. Her father nodded once. Good luck to you. I drove home feeling lighter than I had in months. The dominoes were falling exactly how they should. Sunday evening, 24 hours before the deadline. My wife still hadn't started packing. I was in the kitchen making dinner when she came out of the guest room. She'd showered, put on makeup, Wore one of my old college sweatshirts, the one she knew I liked on her. Classic manipulation playbook. Can we talk? Her voice was soft, vulnerable. I didn't look up from the stove. You have until tomorrow at 6. After that, your stuff goes on the curb. Please, just 5 minutes. I turned off the burner and faced her. Talk. She sat at the kitchen table, folded her hands like she was praying. I know I messed up, but I need you to understand something. Nothing physical happened. It was all just talk, just fantasy. You expect me to believe that? I swear, I never slept with anyone. I never even kissed anyone. It was just flirting, just feeling wanted for once. I leaned against the counter. So you spent $4,000 and lied for months just to feel wanted? That's your defense? I was going through something, a crisis. I felt invisible. You were always working. We never talked anymore. I worked doubles to pay our bills, including the bills you were racking up at bars. I know, and I'm sorry. But doesn't 8 years count for something? Don't I deserve a second chance? I pulled out my phone, opened the voice memo app. Let me play you something. Her eyes widened. What is that? I hit play. Her voice filled the kitchen, clear as day. Talking to one of her friends, probably on speakerphone in her car. The cloud backup had caught everything. Tyler is exactly what I need. 24, fit, and he actually pays attention to me. We're meeting up Tuesday. I already told him I'm available. There was a pause. Her friend's voice. What about your husband? My wife's laugh. What about him? He won't know. He never knows anything. I stopped the recording. That was from 2 weeks ago. Want to hear more? I've got about 40 minutes of conversations, all backed up, all time-stamped. Her face crumpled. That was just talk. I never actually met up with Tyler. Because I confronted you before you could. You were walking out the door in that red dress to do exactly what you'd been planning. She buried her face in her hands. I need help. I'm sick. This is a mental health thing. Depression, anxiety. I should go to therapy. Great. Go to therapy. Just do it somewhere else. You're not even going to try? After everything? I almost laughed. Try what? Try to forgive you for planning to cheat? Try to forget that you called me boring and invisible? Try to pretend you didn't spend months lying to my face? Peep, make mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. You said it yourself on that recording. He won't know. He never knows anything. You thought I was stupid. You thought you'd get away with it forever. She stood up, anger replacing the sadness. Fine. You want to do this the hard way? My lawyer says I'm entitled to half. Your lawyer is wrong. We don't own anything together. The lease is mine. The truck is mine. The furniture is mine. The savings account is empty because you spent it. What exactly do you think you're getting? Alimony. I actually laughed this time. Alimony? We were married 8 years. You worked part-time at a retail store. I made barely above minimum wage. There's no alimony. Mr. Brennan already confirmed it. Her lawyer had called me Friday, a public defender doing divorce work on the side. He'd reviewed the evidence and basically told her she had no case, suggested she take whatever I offered and move on quietly. She must have realized I knew that because her shoulders sagged. What do you want? Her voice was small now. I want you gone tomorrow. You can take your clothes, your personal items, and anything you can prove you bought with your own money. Everything else stays. Where am I supposed to go? Your parents, a friend, a hotel. I don't care. Figure it out. You really hate me that much? I shook my head. I don't hate you. I just don't respect you. And I'm not spending the rest of my life with someone I can't respect. She started crying again. Genuine tears this time, not manipulation. I never wanted this. Then you shouldn't have done it. She walked back to the guest room without another word. I finished making dinner, ate alone at the table, watched a basketball game on TV. Tomorrow couldn't come fast enough. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of boxes being dragged across the floor. When I came out, she'd packed 4 suitcases and 3 boxes. Her car was parked in the driveway. She didn't say goodbye, just loaded everything up and drove away. I stood in the doorway and watched her leave. 8 years. Gone in 48 hours. And honestly, I felt nothing but relief. 3 months later, the divorce was final. I signed the papers in Mr. Brennan's office on a Tuesday morning. He shook my hand and said, "Clean break, no alimony, no shared assets. You're officially free." Felt good to hear it out loud. Life settled into a new rhythm. I picked up an extra shift on Saturdays, not because I needed the money, but because I liked staying busy. Fixed up the rental house, painted the guest room, got rid of furniture that reminded me of her. Started going to the gym 3 mornings a week before work. Nothing crazy, just enough to feel stronger. Started eating better, sleeping better. My brother invited me to join his bowling league. Turned out I was decent at it. Made some friends, normal guys with normal lives who didn't care about my divorce drama. I wasn't looking for anything, wasn't interested in dating, just focused on being okay with being alone. Which is why it surprised me when I ran into Tyler at the hardware store. I was picking up some paint supplies on a Saturday afternoon when I saw him in the plumbing aisle. Early 20s, gym build, wearing a shirt from the college in the next town over. I recognized him from the photos my ex had saved on her phone, the one she'd been texting. He didn't recognize me. Why would he? I grabbed what I needed and was heading to checkout when I heard him talking to someone on his phone. Man, that older woman situation was weird. She kept texting me saying her husband didn't appreciate her. I thought she was separated or something. Then her actual husband called me, told me she was lying about everything. Married, living together, the whole thing. He laughed. I blocked her so fast. I don't need that drama. I walked past him to the register. Couldn't help smiling. She tried to drag Tyler into her mess, and he'd wanted nothing to do with it. The fantasy she'd built up in her head crashed into actual reality. The young guy she thought would make her feel alive had zero interest once he knew the truth. Poetic justice. I paid for my supplies and drove home. Spent the afternoon repainting the bedroom. Changed the color from the blue she'd picked to a gray I actually liked. That evening, my phone buzzed. Unknown number, text message. "Hey, it's me. Can we talk? I miss you. I made mistakes, but I'm different now. Please." I stared at it for exactly 5 seconds. Then I blocked the number, deleted the message, went back to painting. Sunday morning, I met up with my bowling league for breakfast at this diner we've been going to. Good food, cheap prices, the kind of place where the waitress knows your order. We talked about regular stuff, work, sports, someone's kid graduating high school, normal life conversations. One of the guys, Fletcher, asked if I was doing okay. "You seem lighter these days." "Good lighter?" "Yeah," I said. "I feel lighter." "Heard from her at all?" "She tried to text yesterday. Blocked her." He nodded. "Good. That door needs to stay closed." "It is closed, locked, deadbolted." We finished eating. I paid my bill, drove home through town with the windows down and the radio playing classic rock. For the first time in years, I wasn't thinking about what went wrong, wasn't dwelling on the betrayal, wasn't angry. I was just existing, content, free. That night, I sat on my porch with a cold drink and watched the sunset. The rental house felt like mine now, not ours, mine. My phone stayed silent. No desperate texts, no manipulation attempts, just peace. I thought about the past 3 months, the divorce, the confrontation, the evidence, the way her family turned on her when they saw the truth, the way I'd stayed calm through all of it. Some guys would have screamed, would have begged, would have tried to make it work. I just documented everything and walked away with my dignity intact. My ex was somewhere out there, probably telling people I was the villain, probably playing victim to anyone who'd listen, probably still in her group chat, planning the next adventure. Didn't matter. That wasn't my life anymore. I'd made my choice, filed the papers, stood my ground, let her walk away with nothing but the consequences of her actions. And now I was just a guy in his early 30s with a decent job, a clean house, and a future that didn't involve looking over his shoulder. I finished my drink, went inside, locked the door. Tomorrow I'd go to work, come home, maybe catch a game with the guys, maybe just relax. Simple, peaceful, mine. The chapter closed, the book ended. No sequel, no second chances, no what-ifs. Just a man who knew his worth and refused to settle for less. And honestly, that was exactly how it should be. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.